This morning, the first votes cast in the US election, and the result is already on a knife's edge. The race to the White House. We're live to the US with the latest. Breaking news, Queen Camilla pulls out of key events after falling ill. A glimmer of hope for mortgage holders. The first rate cut could be sooner than expected. And Knight's Choice storms home to win the Melbourne Cup by the thinnest of margins.
Live across Australia, this is Sunrise Early News.
Good morning. It's election day in America and millions are casting their votes for the country's next president. Throughout the day, a steady stream of voters have queued at polling centres across all 50 US states. Former President Donald Trump making an appearance after casting his ballot in Florida. Vice President Kamala Harris is spending the day in Washington, and we'll watch the results come in at her old university in DC. According to the polls, the race is as tight as it could possibly be. All eyes are on the battleground stage, which will be pivotal to the path to victory. Let's get straight to our team of reporters. First to US correspondent Tim Lester in Palm Beach, Florida. Tim, you're in Trump territory there, where the former president cast his vote just a short time ago.
Hello, Eddie. Yes, this certainly Trump territory. A lot of supporters and scores of media packed the grounds around the voting booth behind me a short time ago. As it turned out, Secret Service scoured the area, helicopter above, checking it out, and sniffer dogs and the like. And there was a decision made ultimately that Donald Trump wouldn't even come outside, and they spirited him away out of the back of the building, but only after he was able to speak to a camera.
If I win, I know what I'm going to say, and I don't even want to think about the losing part. I would like to tell all of the people that are online to stay online. We have tremendous Republican lines, and I've been asked actually to say it. It takes a while. I'd like to just make the statement that I'd like the Republicans to stay online. Democrats, if they'd like, they can leave.
Mr. Trump, if elected after today's vote, will be the oldest ever president at his election. 78, a punishing schedule for him. 4 rallies yesterday. He finished in Michigan and flew overnight from the Canadian border, essentially, right down here to the southernmost state of Florida, his home state, where he's already voted, as we saw. And in the hours ahead, he hopes he'll bring Republicans together for a celebration party here in Palm Beach. Eddie.
It really is going to be an extraordinary day ahead. Marley Hogan is in the crucial swing state of Pennsylvania. Marley, what happens there could really decide this election.
Yeah, Eddie, that's right. And the people of Pennsylvania have been bombarded by both candidates. They've had ads on their television. The candidates have been spending a lot of time here and money here trying to convince the people of Pennsylvania to pick them. And today, that time has come. A lot of people have shown up. We've been moving through the city, going to different polling booths. And as you can see, they're lined up. This particular line goes right from one edge of the block down to this corner here. They've been waiting for some time now. It's around lunchtime here on the East Coast, so it's a good time for them to be here. We did get to chat to a few of them earlier, and this is what they had to say.
Donald Trump, obviously. It's important for him to get back in office, for me, to secure our borders, to help our economy, to get back to where we were.
Most important election of my lifetime, so I definitely wouldn't miss this. So much on the line here. A lot of consequences from this election.
I think that everybody's just mobilized to want to have their voice heard, which is the beautiful thing about the American electoral process.
Some very strong opinions from those people there from both sides. But this really will come down to the people of Pennsylvania, and the people of Pennsylvania, and both candidates will be watching to see which way it tips. Eddie.
The world will be watching. Marley and Tim will come back to you during Sunrise. Of course, Nat is live in Washington, DC as well. So our full coverage coming up later on during Sunrise from 5:30. In breaking news this morning, Queen Camilla has been forced to pull out of key engagements because she's suffering from a chest infection. Buckingham Palace has confirmed she's resting at home but provided no other details about her illness. The 77-year-old says she very much hopes to be well enough to attend remembrance events planned for this coming weekend. A man has been arrested over this suspected drink driving crash in Sydney's northwest. It happened just after midnight. One driver smashing into the rear of another car at an intersection in Epping. One person was taken to hospital with minor injuries. The accused drunk driver was taken for further testing. A man has been charged overnight after he allegedly slashed at multiple people with a box cutter knife at a shopping centre in Melbourne's southeast. Police say the 30-year-old from Narre stabbed 3 people at a bus stop outside the Westfield Fountain Gate yesterday. He's facing 4 charges but was granted bail to appear in court in February. 2 men and a woman remain in hospital with non-life-threatening injuries this morning. Firefighters are battling a dangerous bushfire that's moving towards a town on the New South Wales-Queensland border. Residents of Dirranbandi lost power before 8 p.m. last night. Many had to evacuate their homes and they've been told it's not yet safe to return. The blaze has since been downgraded to watch and act level. Multiple crews remain on the ground this morning, hoping to bring it under control before weather conditions worsen. It's one of the closest finishes we've ever seen in the Melbourne Cup. Knight's Choice, an $81 long shot, storming to victory in Australia's most famous horse race.
Knight's Choice, Warp Speed, they hit the line. It's a photo finish. Knight's Choice, I reckon's won from Warp Speed in a photo.
I'm with Melbourne Cup jockey Robbie Dolan. How's that sound?
Wow, pinch me. I think I'm dreaming. It's incredible. I can't believe it. I don't even know what to say.
He's not dreaming, it's true. Irish jockey Robbie Dolan, first shot to fame in 2022 as a contestant on Seven's The Voice. What a talent. And here in Sydney, punters had an eye on the Melbourne Cup and another on our very own big dance race at Royal Randwick. Kieran Maher-trained Gringotts took out the feature race, pocketing more than $1.5 million. Borrowers will have to wait until next year for interest rate relief, despite headline inflation falling to its lowest point in 3 years. The Reserve Bank has kept interest rates steady at 4.35%, saying it won't cut rates until inflation is heading sustainably down in the new year.
I don't think that necessarily means it has to be absolutely back in the band, but we need to be pretty convinced that it's heading there with a fair degree of confidence.
Governor Michelle Bullock also urged the federal government not to make the inflation fight harder with election promises of big spending. Thunderstorm warnings for Brisbane, Moreton Bay and Redland have been cancelled this morning after wild weather across Queensland's southeast overnight. These are pictures from South Brisbane where heavy hail fell as that system passed through. Heatwave conditions are expected to continue over the next 3 days, gradually moving into the northern parts of the state. Hopefully you can enjoy it like that little fella. We're checking Wednesday's weather now. Sunny in Brisbane and 31, partly cloudy in Sydney and 27, mostly sunny in Canberra and 33. A shower or two and a cool change in Melbourne and 33. A shower or two in Hobart and 28. Partly cloudy in Adelaide and 25. Partly cloudy down in Perth as well, 21 degrees. And mostly sunny in Darwin and 35. Well, coming up on Sunrise Early News this morning, the family of an 11-year-old boy swept out to sea shared their anguish, saying they did everything they could to save him. The ABC forced to apologise in Parliament for fake reporting, and meet the high schoolers mapping the future of space travel. The family of an 11-year-old boy washed out to sea on the New South Wales Central Coast are calling for police to extend the search. His relatives haven't stopped looking for him since he was carried off by a strong current at the entrance.
He tried saving everyone. He saved 3. By the time he turned around, he couldn't see life. It was a split second.
It's been more than 3 days now and there has been no sign of the boy. Alleged killer cop Beau Lamar Condon has switched to taxpayer-funded legal aid. The 29-year-old is accused of killing former TV presenter Jesse Baird and flight attendant Luke Davies with his police-issued firearm earlier this year. He was expected to enter a plea yesterday, but his lawyer confirmed he had withdrawn from the case. It's caused a significant delay that a magistrate described as regrettable. Volunteers and emergency workers are continuing clean-up efforts in Valencia following the worst flooding in decades. Piles of debris and destroyed cars still litter the streets a week after flash floods hit the region. 217 people died in the disaster and dozens are still missing. The Spanish government has earmarked $70 billion in loans and grants to help the victims. The world's first wooden satellite has headed into space atop a SpaceX rocket. The satellite, built by scientists in Japan, will stay in orbit for 6 months in an attempt to prove wood is a space-grade material. This is interesting, isn't it? Sensors on board will measure how it puts up with extreme temperatures, ranging from minus 64 degrees to 100 degrees Celsius as it orbits from darkness to sunlight. Prince William has joined wildlife conservationist Robert Irwin from Mountain Walk during the Royals tour of South Africa. The pair walked up Signal Hill overlooking Cape Town and spoke to rangers and volunteer conservationists about the area's biodiversity. The Prince of Wales is in South Africa on a 4-day climate-focused tour, culminating in his presentation of the Earthshot Prize tomorrow night. We're checking finance now. The Dow Jones is trading 318 points higher. The Nasdaq is up 221. In London, the FT 100 lost 12 points and Germany's DAX gained 110. Closer to home, Japan's Nikkei closed 421 points higher. Hong Kong's Hang Seng was 439 points higher. The All Ords lost 35 and the ASX 200 also finished lower. On the commodities market, gold is trading at $2,736 an ounce. Oil is $73 a barrel, almost. The Aussie dollar is buying 66 US cents, 100.8 Japanese yen, $1.10 New Zealand. From southwest Sydney to SpaceX, a school experiment devised at Casula High is in Earth's orbit tonight after being launched aboard a Falcon 9 rocket. For students, science doesn't get much more exciting than this, watching them blast off from their classroom.
Not even the sky is the limit for these students.
On its way to the International Space Station, carrying science, supplies, and the spirit of exploration.
Today at Casula High, they watched their hard work launch into Earth's orbit aboard SpaceX.
3, 2, 1.
I'm really impressed with our school and I'm really proud of us all.
Part of a program with the powerhouse Parramatta, the class was tasked with designing a microgravity experiment. Theirs, growing algae in space, chosen as the winner.
We're looking at a way of filtering the air in spacecraft, which means that we can actually stay in those spacecraft for longer than we currently can.
Down the line, it could also help slow climate change and support life on Mars.
I'm pretty excited, because it's my experiment and the fact that it's actually going into space is pretty serious.
This class is the first in New South Wales to be offered the opportunity to design and launch an experiment in space. It has been a trial, but based on this success, the program could be offered again to future classes. Fostering a passion for STEM in more students.
With opportunities like this coming out to areas like Western Sydney, it's unfathomable where they could end up going.
Jodie Lee, 7 News.
Exciting. Well, still to come on Sunrise Early News, pill testing gets the green light ahead of schoolies celebrations and why a very honest death notice 2 sons wrote for their mother has gone viral. The operator of a jumping castle has gone on trial in Tasmania. Rosemary Gamble is accused of workplace safety breaches in a jumping castle tragedy that killed 6 children 3 years ago. The inflatable was tossed metres into the air by wild winds at an end-of-year school celebration. The court has been told the castle was tethered to the ground by only half of its anchor points using pegs that were too small. A truck driver charged over a deadly crash south of Adelaide has now been released on bail. Police say a semi-trailer jackknifed, colliding with 3 cars on Monday. 2 women were killed and 7 people, including the truck driver, were hurt. The 35-year-old faces multiple charges, including causing death by dangerous driving. New Zealand is making a pitch to Australia's mining, infrastructure and farming industries to expand their operations across the ditch. New legislation has been tabled to fast-track project approvals and reverse Jacinda Ardern's gas ban. The minister behind it has labelled fears of fossil fuels a trans-Tasman virus and hopes cutting red tape will mean new mining jobs for Kiwis. The newly elected Queensland government has flip-flopped on its promise to ban pill testing at this year's schoolies celebrations, saying it was too late to implement any changes. It means the controversial practice will go ahead. The previous government had agreed to a contract with the hope it would save lives. A spokesperson from the Health Minister's office maintained the practice sends the wrong message, but there are no safe ways to take drugs. The ABC has apologised in Parliament for a story about Australian soldiers that contained fake gunshots. The network's bosses were grilled over why the video wasn't taken down when lawyers first contacted the public broadcaster more than 2 years ago.
Saying you've got it wrong, You've put these fake gunshots in the video, and what? No one did anything? Is that what you're telling me?
Senator, that's what's still being investigated.
The incident also raised issues with the ABC's complaint system, which remain unresolved. A Sydney Sun has gone viral for a heartfelt but pretty hilarious newspaper notice announcing the death of his 88-year-old mother, Jenny. It paid tribute to a very colourful character who loved a party, a drink and some cannabis too. He even encouraged mourners to bring a shovel.
After losing his beloved mother Jennifer last week, Sean Kelly wrote a notice for the local newspaper, honouring her with hilarious honesty, unaware his good-humoured grief was about to go global.
I had never done a death notice. I'd never really looked at them. I swear, I spent less than 4 minutes on that.
An obituary so unconventional, Sean says the classified salesman wasn't sure he could publish it.
He said, yeah, he had to get approval from his boss.
The notice read, "Farewell Jenny Kelly, our wild and wayward mother, remembering a woman who grew great dope, never wanted to leave a party and gave up champagne or gin frequently but never simultaneously, sharing news on what's next to follow, bring a shovel."
The next thing I knew was the day after someone said, I think we heard someone on the radio talking about your mother this morning.
The notice has now gone viral, shared and celebrated by thousands around the world, including British newspaper The Independent and People magazine in the US.
She would say that she was mortified, but all my friends tell me that she would be absolutely delighted at the attention.
Remembered after death as a woman who lived life to the fullest. Amber Laidler, 7 News.
Sounds like a real hoot, doesn't she? Well, ahead in sport on Sunrise Early News, Big Dance Dominance, a champion trainer that cleaned up in the $3 million race at Royal Randwick. The Kangaroos ready to face a red sea of Tongan fans in Sunday's Pacific Championships final. And we'll have a closer look at how the weather's shaping up in your part of the country with a live look at Sydney this morning. The singing jockey Robbie Dolan was in complete disbelief after one of the great Melbourne Cup triumphs on 100-1 outsider Knight's Choice. Celebrations moved to Crown Casino, as they always do, for Dolan and the co-trainers John Simons and also Sheila Laxon. With one of the great Cup rides, the Irishman stormed home to complete an unlikely fairy tale, holding up Sherbo's pick, Japanese Raider Warp Speed. Akita Sushi was third. He missed out on the Cup, but the Big Dance is a handy consolation for champion trainer Kieran Maher. His runners finished 1-2 in the $3 million feature at Randwick. Gringotts winning from Vizzy Air and Super Razi. Gallant Star, part owned by cricketing great Kerry O'Keefe, won the Barn Dance. The Barn Dance is reserved for country-trained horses.
He's got a huge heart, and this is a huge day for us. Yeah. The Barn Dance.
Come on, surely you got some stories.
I've been dreaming of winning this race for years.
And now he has. What a wonderful day of racing for everyone right across 2 states. Well, former Tiger Liam Baker has dismissed any suggestion he didn't like the potential of Richmond's rebuild. Baker joined West Coast on a 5-year deal.
Oh, nothing at all. It's not about the footy side. It's about wanting to get back to WA and be closer to family and friends. I've been in Melbourne for 7 years, and I felt like the time was right to get going.
AFL clubs will return to pre-season training from as early as next week. The Kangaroos say they're ready to play in front of a red sea of Tongan supporters in Sunday's Pacific Championship final. The Aussies know they're in for a brutal battle against the Tongan side that boasts one of the most imposing forward packs ever assembled.
We're not sort of naive enough, to say that hang on, we keep hanging in there, they're going to fall apart, but that's not the case anymore. We've got 80 minutes of really hard work in front of us.
Combank Stadium is set to be packed with passionate Tongan supporters. It'll be great. We're taking a look at the weather around the country for you now. A surface trough will generate showers and storms over South Australia and the Northern Territory. A cold front will approach Tasmania later in the day, bringing some showers and storms to western areas of the state. An unstable air mass is likely to bring isolated showers and storms over north-east New South Wales and south-east Queensland. Around the capital, sunny in Brisbane and 31, partly cloudy in Sydney and 27, mostly sunny in Canberra and 33, a shower or two and a cool change in Melbourne and 33, a shower or two in Hobart and 28, partly cloudy in Adelaide and 25, partly cloudy in Perth and 21, and mostly sunny in Darwin and 35. And that's Sunrise Early News. I'm Edwina Bartholomew. Now it's time for a special edition of Sunrise, and Nat is live from America's capital.
Hello from Washington DC on Election Day 2024 here in the US. Welcome to Sunrise, our top stories this morning. Day of Destiny, the brutal campaign over, now America decides. What do you think's going to happen?
I'm hopeful that Kamala Harris will win the election.
We need Donald Trump to get back in, a businessman to get back in.